Hey guys, how's it going? So today I'm stood in Castelfields Community Garden with Clare from Lovely Land.
Hey Alex, nice to see you.
And it's been a while since we've done this.
So long. And of course the pandemic in between us last seeing each other.
What a nightmare that's been.
Horrible.
Yeah, but what I've seen with everything that we did with the pandemic, thank you helicopter for coming over just as we hit record. Oh, fantastic. What I have seen is a lot of resilience within communities throughout that year, and it's nice to actually look back at it now over what you've been doing as well, especially because looking on your website, you've been starting off quite a few initiatives to sort of let people know they're not on their own, sort of thing. That's what I noticed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, first of all, what a beautiful town we live in. And haven't we been lucky that we do get to go on our local walks in this beautiful, gorgeous town along the river with all its green spaces. I mean, it's been an absolute lifesaver for me, really, to be getting out and about. And
on your skateboard, I've seen.
And on a skate, yeah. That was my lockdown skill that I acquired. Yeah, love skateboarding. So look out for new projects coming up to do with skateboarding. Absolutely nothing to do with growing vegetables, but there we go.
Well, when it comes to Lovely Land and what you guys do, there's much more than just growing vegetables. That what you do. There's the library, the window library that you've got.
Yes, yeah.
Where did that come from?
Yeah. Well, actually, like most of our projects, what happens is we get talking to people in our local community. They have all the great, amazing ideas. I think sometimes it gets passed off as my ideas, but it's not. It comes from people, that are in the community, using the area, and we just listen to what they want. So one family really sort of came up with this idea for a little library that they could walk to. They could choose some bedtime books, but the idea was that we provide good quality books. It's not just a book share scheme, it doesn't just have secondhand books in there. We actually get some funding and get really well supported. We choose the books really carefully. Themes of community, togetherness, books that help people talk about issues with mental health in children, within families, about diversity, equality. So all of these things that we think is really, all of these themes that we think are really important, we try and put those sort of themes within the library. And of course, everyone's got access to it. It's a free library. There's no fees. You don't have to join up. There's no, we try to make it as easy as possible for everyone in the community to access it. And that's what we try and do with everything we do.
And what was the feedback with that? Did any of the kids mess with it, or was it just left? Did people appreciate it as a?
The town council supported us in starting that up and getting it actually on the wall of the community centre and funding the first initial books. And since then, it has just gone from strength to strength. It's now sort of self-run really by the community itself. I just have a hand in it, and every now and again I'll buy some more books to go in there, or rotate the books that are in there. But really it's the kids that are running it now themselves. It's the kids that are telling me what they want in there, what they want to see, and also we've now been able to put books in for older kids as well, because we started off with quite young children's books, and we've sort of stretched into the teens now. So that's been a new sort of learning curve for me as well. So that's what I love about it. Yeah,
I really like that. It's nice. It reminds me of the the larder things that people do with food banks. They had like a larder where people can put things in the fridge
and filling telephone boxes with books or food, and I think in lockdown it's been really nice. It's something we've been able to keep going. Because the sharing sort of books, we've kept books in quarantine before we rotate them in, and
of course.
And we've put up guidelines in order to do it safely. But the borrowing of books has been something that we've been able to sort of keep going. And of course, we've been encouraging people to tell stories. We've been posting them online. Nice. Lovely Land's gone online, which has been a new learning curve for me as well. But actually, it's been really good to be able to keep in contact with people.
It's great to have a website. I've got two. It's hard to keep on top of them. I've got to say, every now and again, I've got to go in and just make sure everything's going well. It's good that you've got that online presence. I mean, it's been really important for people during the pandemic to have that sort of online presence, because, at the beginning of it all, we couldn't go out anywhere. We couldn't do anything. There's a lot of people.
First lockdown, Alex, it was crazy now looking back on it, wasn't it? Yeah, no, I'm a Zoom whiz now. So we've had some of our groups, especially like working with our young carers, and some of the families we work with are quite isolated, either by location, because Shropshire's such a rural county, or by situation. Situations can be isolating for people as well. And of course, COVID has been isolated, has put an isolation layer on for everyone.
Especially during the winter. I mean, we heard that like the sort of first half of last year was great because people could get out when we were allowed to. People could, do what they needed to do to get out in the fresh air. But during the winter, it added that added layer of sort of depression and isolation for a lot of people. Mental health.
The dark months. Literally.
The dark months.
Short days. That's when we started to think about our reach out packs actually. So we had funding to deliver our nature programme, and we were going ahead with that, which, we organised lots of events, workshops, they're mostly free for people to come and enjoy. We're able to do that because we get funding. That's a lot of my job is writing funding bids. But obviously we weren't allowed any of those gatherings. They were all restricted. So what we did instead, we had to diversify. So we put a lot of stuff online.
I love that word, diversify.
Yeah, and we did. And it was a learning curve for me and the volunteers as well, because we're about connecting with nature. We're about getting outdoors. We're not about sitting behind a computer. So we had to sort of upskill quite quickly. But what we started to do is deliver these reach out packs. So the workshops that we would have been inviting people to come along and gather and enjoy and the experience of doing, we actually made these little kits and packs that we could send out to people's homes, and we were able to do that to our most vulnerable families, really, the families that perhaps we focused right early on single parent families.
Very important. I did see that, and you think about that and you feel for single parent families, especially three or four kids running around the house during, where's the help for the parents?
Absolutely. I'm a single parent myself, so I was not having the respite that school gives as well, and having them 24/7, but not being able to go out, not being able to meet up with friends. Kids just love playing in big groups of people, and my kids are wild, so they just love climbing trees and and hanging out with their mates, and all that was sort of stripped right back. And so we felt it was really important for children perhaps who don't have the green spaces, who don't have big gardens to hang out in. It was really important to get some nature into them, especially in the winter months. And that's how we did it, through these reach out packs.
I mean, that sounds like something that you looked at that was possibly not thought about during the pandemic. There were so many. Were there any areas as a community, someone with their ear to the ground, where you noticed that, with all the TV campaigns and everything that was put together, is there something as part of the community that was completely forgotten about during all this craziness?
I think things that were overlooked perhaps were the use of the green spaces weren't utilised as much as they could have been, especially when we were allowed out for that sort of 1 hour. I think it was like, what was, I can't even remember now, 1 hour, like a day.
You better get jogging. You're not exercising. I can't see you jogging.
And that there's lots of things that class as exercise, and like I say, my kids just love climbing trees. So for us, it was like, let's go on an adventure and find a new tree today. But I think there were positives that came out of it as well. Like the exploration that you did within such a close proximity to where you live, because we weren't allowed to go very far. I think that's been quite exciting for a few people, especially living in such a beautiful town like Shrewsbury, discovering new areas, and just getting out and sort of exploring really. But I think the isolation, I think, has been key, and I think it's affected lots of different people in lots of different ways. And I don't think you can say it's been like this for one set of people and like that for another.
You can't do that, no, because it's hard to throw an umbrella term over anybody as a community, because everyone's an individual, aren't they? And you don't know how people in this house here that I can see in front of me, you don't know how they're dealing with it. These people, everybody's completely different, and in an individual, your individuality is really important, but at the same time it's good to know that you've got the community to reach out to if you need it.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it's been nice to have the basis of like the Lovely Land groups, like the Yarn Bombers, for example. Now they have missed their pub meetings, because as you know, we do most of our knitting and crocheting in the pub, and we have really missed that. And I know that the pub has missed us as well. The pubs have been struggling without the custom as well. So we've, I think I got a few wines delivered from our local to try and, wines that I'd normally be drinking while I was knitting some yarn bombing. But I think we've all, especially here in Castelfields, just talking about what I know because I live here, but we've all seemed to have pulled together in lots of different ways. I mean, on Benyon Street they had like coffee mornings and, people socially distanced, but everyone came out. I still think they might even still be doing that. And I think there was a little Friday night drinky, that happened every now and again as well. So we had the carols on the doorstep, of course.
That was amazing, of course.
That was fantastic.
Gita was doing her photography as well on the doorstep. That was
Gita's amazing. That was because the yarn bombing couldn't kind of go ahead last year. So what we did is instead we just decorated our front gardens and our front windows, and that's when Gita got on her bike, bless her, and came round and took pictures of it all. And that then I think that developed into her beautiful doorstep.
Were you guys
portraits.
on TV as well? Didn't the TV come round?
Might have been. Yeah, there's been a few BBC things around here, and
what a good place to look at community then. What you guys are doing at Castelfields. Phil's with us, our photography. Are you only good at doing yarn, crocheting, or
I'm
knitting?
terrible at that, but I'm willing to give it a shot for the biscuit.
Yeah, because I was thinking maybe if you guys going to be doing some sort of yarn bombing sort of thing this year, maybe we should show up as a team of Biscuit. Like, I'm useless, so I'm counting on you, Phil, and Shane, and Dee. And
I wouldn't count on me, but I'll give it my best shot. But you never know.
Well, we've got we do all of our skill sharing in the pub. So first, as soon as they're open again, we'll get you in and we'll get you skilled
Imagine
up.
you guys taking over a beer garden at the moment, like just sitting outside with your needles going away. Like, that'd be fun.
I wouldn't mix beer and needles, but it sounds fun. We'll give it a shot.
Imagine jousting from across the bar.
Yeah.
Don't take my red. It's my red.
Well, some of these yarn bombers are very passionate about what they do, so you better you got to show up.
How do you make to try and create as much impact as possible with what you're doing? How are you finding making enough noise to stand sort of stand out from everyone else?
Yeah, well, so there's two sides to Lovely Land, really. There's the projects that we do that we don't really sing and dance about a lot because of the, because we're working with sort of sensitive people, really, in sensitive situations. So we do a lot of work supporting children and families in the local area in lots of different ways. So that could be through the library by providing books, providing a support system there through telling stories, or we've done lots of work to do with the community gardens and the planting, and we take small groups out to gardens to get them out and connected to nature, and also a bit of a respite for some of the parents sometimes.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And so we do a lot of sort of quiet supporting work, and that's where a lot of our funding comes from, working with families who might need that support.
Of course.
But also we do things like the yarn bombing, it's just gone massive. Like this year was just crazy. People were sending stuff in from all over the country. We got stuff sent up from, like, I think Yorkshire was the furthest one north, and we got someone from down in Cornwall sending us up stuff. So I think with the going online and having a more online presence, I think it's sort of opened up our reach, because we have been, we're a hyper local community project. We care about the place that we live in. We care about Castelfields, we care about Shrewsbury, and we tend to do most of our gatherings in this area, but going online has opened up the reach, and I think a lot of people are like into what we do, which we're thrilled about. It's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And how have you guys found communicating with other communities around Shrewsbury? Do you guys get on with, obviously you get on with other companies, but like, do you take ideas from each other? Do you, how's that go?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, Shrewsbury's like, there's stuff going on, there's stuff happening. I think Bellevue have got their arts festival coming up. They do a lot of cool stuff. There's loads of local educators, artists, like people, like workshop facilitators that normally we would be hiring and inviting to come and run our workshops with us. But because we haven't been able to do that last year, what we did instead is we invited them to come along and work on our reach out packs for us. So through the funding that we've got, we've still been able to sort of employ those local artists, local educators as we normally would, but just in a different way, because that's really important too. I think a lot of people lost out on work and money, and
of course,
it's affected people in lots of different ways. So everyone we work with is local, hyper local, really. I mean, we've got a big Castelfields cohort. Geeta's great because she comes around and takes lots of pictures for
course.
us. We've got all of our volunteers are local. We've just started a new volunteer programme actually, working with teens. Yeah, working with young people. So it's about getting people into the Lovely Land family. They come along to the workshops, the events. They help support us. They work with the young people, the young children that come along to the events. But actually, also what it does, it gives them some work experience. It gives them experience working within, a not-for-profit organisation as well. And it's worked out as a support network for those young people working with us as well. Some of which have actually, got some issues around self-confidence in themselves.
Sorry, I was listening to you. I was watching Phil's got his camera. He was sneaking up on a bird to take a picture of it, and it just gone.
He was stealth there, wasn't he? But unfortunately, the bird flew away, I think.
So is this an idea then to sort of pass the torch, so to speak? So in a few years you can rely on younger people to sort of help you out and have that peer sort of presence to the younger people that are coming up for them. Is this the next generation of Lovely Landers? Yeah,
absolutely, it really is. I mean, this group started off, actually, we were supporting a group of 4 teenagers who had who'd lost a friend of theirs to suicide. Mm-hmm. So we were we were creating time and safe space for them to be able to come together and actually talk about that. We did that through the Lovely Land Library. We provided some books on talking about death, talking about grief, talking about mental health issues, so through those stories we were able to bring that group together and allow them a safe space to actually communicate to each other about something quite tragic that's happened, and 2 of those people got involved in some of our helping out in some of our events, and they started talking about how helping other people has really helped them, and giving them a sense of purpose and stuff. So that's where and then I was like, ding ding ding, if we've helped these young people, maybe there are more young people out there that might benefit from this. So yeah, that's good.
I mean, that's one of the main reasons. Okay, I always do this. I sort of compare myself to you guys, just sort of a way to relate to you guys. But I'm doing this 24-hour podcasting challenge thing in September. It's a great idea, but the idea of this is to encourage others to do it. Okay, because I've got these microphones, I've got these resources from around the world. Let's do some good for it, and then I'll teach you to do it, and I'll teach you to do it, and let's everybody do this, because the more people that are out there helping, what harm can that do?
Absolutely. Well, I think there's lots of people doing great work, so I applaud you for doing that. I really do, and maybe I could get my group of volunteers hooked up to some podcast kind of program. It sounds great.
I would love to do that, because I've learned that hosting a podcast is a type of therapy. Okay, so what we're doing when we're concentrating, looking down a microphone and we're talking, is a type of meditation. Kat Merrick from Breathe Dance Yoga came on, taught me all about that, and it's very good therapy. You get a lot off your chest, especially when you wear 2 different hats like me, because I got the biscuit thing and I got the you-suck thing, where I can have a beer and be a bit more sweary and a bit more jolly, and you can kind of offload a lot of steam with that. And I'd love to be able to, if I could come here and set up a small podcast studio for you guys, so that you guys can come in and do something, I would do that.
That would be fantastic, and I really think anything that reaches out to our young people. So obviously, Lovely Land started off being all about nature and connecting with the outdoors. But I think anything that speaks to young people, that gets them together, that gets them focused on on an interest, a bit like me in the skateboarding.
Just a project.
That's kept me going through lockdown, learning a new skill. I'm totally hooked now, and I'm ready for the skate park. If there's any young people out there actually that can come and help me learn some tricks, because I'm an older woman and I need some help.
I've got a friend called Josh Brimmel. He won't listen to this. He's in America, but he's in his 40s. He's probably 40. I think he's 40. Probably just aged him loads. I'm very sorry, Josh, if you do listen to this. He's in America, but he's been learning. He's been out the skateboards with his kid, learning, and he's been flicking some tricks and all sorts. It's been so brilliant to see.
It's so cool as well. It makes you just feel amazing. Makes you feel alive. Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Makes you think, what skill can I learn this year? When it comes to what we've been doing as a biscuit this year, we've been very much grinding it out, sort of finding community projects to talk about, and getting out there, finding out what people are doing. We've not really been looking in-house. I mean, we're looking at some of the events that are coming up now. Are you guys excited for like the food festival and things to come back?
Yeah, it is. I think there's a mixed reaction from our families, really, because some people are still a bit anxious, a little bit nervous, and wondering how all those things are going to work. But I think as it rolls out and more people are getting vaccinated and it feels safer for people to start slowly treading out again. And that's why I think when we start doing events, we're going to start doing very small sort of gatherings, just to get people who perhaps are a little bit more anxious about the bigger gatherings, get them going. And
this is why I think it's really important for a lot of people like Phill, who's got an eye, a lens, and a way of. Because I mean, I bet you're dying to get hold of some events and stuff. You and James, who work with us, James works with the folk festival, things like that. You're going to be working with us and with Shrewsbury Town and Community. Events is where it's at, right?
Yeah, I think it's the best way to promote yourself, get a name for yourself out there, and showcase what you can do. If you can get something like the food festival, it's well known around the country. I'm from Ludlow. If you get that festival, there's people from all around the world come to that.
Yeah, of course.
If you can capture that, get it published, you get phone calls coming at your all directions, hopefully.
But I think it's also, we've got a responsibility to show people that it is safe. You know, when we do end up going to the food festival and places that we're going to be chock-a-block, we've got at least three or four festivals signed up already for the biscuit. I want to show people that they can come and have a good time. So we're going to take some cameras and do some video stuff as well, just to show people. Like, this is what we did with the drive-in festivals. They were they were so successful because the first few that went out, there were people there. The pictures that the Ben Coates was throwing up, showing people socially distanced, things that showed that it was safe to come out, and the anxieties were sort of relieved a little bit, I think. Yeah,
and I think the more you can showcase that, the more confident people are going to be. I know that there's Shrewsbury Arts and Crafts are doing like an arts trail around town in June, so I'm really looking forward to that. We're doing a workshop there for them.
Involved with that.
But I think things like that, and the yarn bombing that we did this year, we didn't have a table there. We didn't do like an event. It was just we put it up, and we dropped off leaflets at the local houses for the kids to sort of do the word search and find the game, and we gave them the Easter egg before they did the trail this year because we didn't want people to think that they had to, sacrifice the social distancing in order to come and join in. So we left it up all weekend, and people just came at their own time and their own pace, really. And if it was busy, people sort of went away and came back again. So I think people are being really responsible with it as well.
Yeah, good. How important is it to keep these spaces green? Because it's a big talking project at the moment with a lot of infrastructure, the relief road stuff that's going up, the houses being built. There's places in Ironbridge, for example, just about over the build where the power station is. All these things that just seem like sacrilege to me, like all these beautiful green spaces. Do you guys have to fight for this green space, or are the council just happy to let it be? I mean.
Well, I found the town council to be really supportive when we're looking at using green spaces as well, because some people are a bit underconfident to actually, rock up and throw a picnic blanket down in a green space. I mean, these public green spaces are for us to use. You can set up, an event in the middle of a park. You can ask people to gather when it's safe, obviously, to do so, and use these spaces. You can climb the trees. And if there's an apple tree, you can pick the apples and take them home and pick them and eat them. I just think like people are sometimes a bit underconfident to use these spaces. So there's stuff around that, the usage. But obviously the garden we're actually standing in now, I think it used to be owned by the prison. And I think when the prison was sold, they sold off a lot of this green space around the river because they wanted to preserve it. So I think it's council owned, and because it's on a bank and it's a nightmare to maintain, I think they gave it over to a community group, a little part of it, and it's beautiful. We've planted fruit trees in here. There's apples and pears and cherries, and obviously the group have been making, you can see a lovely herb bed here.
So Lovely Land has put all this in.
It's a community group called the Dana Community Garden, and they used to meet regularly every month. I think they're starting to do that again. But I can certainly, anyone that's interested in joining, I can certainly give them the information.
Let's talk about the big thing that's coming up, summer. What, have you got any plans for summer? You guys got any?
I am local holidaying, staycations, get the kids outside, enjoy the sun, get on the river as much as possible. I've bought a new paddle board, so that's as a personal one. But in terms of Lovely Land, we're also starting to do small gatherings. The yarn bombers are getting together. We're doing some skill sharing. We're getting the young people together. We're starting our volunteer group up again, so we'll be meeting regularly. All outside, all social distance, all safe. We've got a nature circles running, which is people from the local community coming together to see how we can improve like this immediate green space that we live in. So yeah, we've got loads and loads going on, but you can get all the information on the website.
I'm thinking actually, because we run these things called the open studio sessions, where we record sort of between 5 and 7 podcasts in one day. We can do one every hour. And I was thinking, like, in the height of summer, when we know it's going to be nice, how cool would it be? Because we just use this and plug microphones into it, just to set up a little mini studio across the river there, and just have people walk up and just sit and outside and talk to us. How amazing would that be?
Do it. Come to our little community gathering that we're having in August.
Yeah.
Hopefully, obviously, we're waiting to see if restrictions, what sort of format that will take, and restrictions allow. But yeah, please do come and have a table. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
You know what? Because it would be really helpful for us, because we always get loads and loads of really positive feedback comments from our projects. But I am not very good at nailing that feedback down and gathering it. And of course, funders love that stuff.
Yeah.
So if you were there and you could capture some of that feedback for me,
we'd be happy to be.
That would be amazing. Maybe some of our young people could help on the mic as well.
That would be amazing. Yes, we're looking for. We are. I mean, like, you're listening to this now, guys. We are actually looking for an extra sort of host for the biscuit to sort of help out with the volume of. So if you know someone that's young, budding, wants to get behind a microphone, and preferably over 18, it's got to be over 18 because of legal reasons and all like that. But yeah, if there's anybody young out there who wants to join us as a host and sort of help out with what we're doing, then please get in touch with us, because that's what we want to do. And maybe we can try and do like a pod idol. I don't know.
Pod idol. Right, okay.
Find a new biscuit host. I don't know.
New project launch right here.
Yeah, we'll see how the cookie crumbles. See that.
Oh dear.
Well, thank you. I felt a drop of rain. I think we caught this just at the right time. But
I think we did. Yeah.
Thank you so much for talking to us today.
You are so welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Where can people find you guys?
So we've got a website with all of our details on lovelyland.co.uk, but we are on Insta. We're on Facebook. So you can get my contact details on there. If you've got ideas for projects, you can give me a shout. You can drop me a line on the email. And if you want to get involved in anything, then just let me know, and we'll get you in.
Lovely Land, going strength to strength from these words today. Words, helicopters, and my sunglasses have been on and off because this weather's just so unpredictable. Also, I want to tell you guys as well about a radio show that I've started last week. If you guys want to hear more of Whiteley, but on the radio, I do a new radio show called Naughty Talk for a radio station called Splash Damage Radio. If you want to hear that, it's every Thursday at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. Go to splashdamage.co.uk to find the links to that. It's talk about do noughties music, because I think it's a forgotten era of music. You know,
I was wondering where you're going with the noughties, but okay,
Naughty
noughties
Talk.
music,
It's
right? Okay, I'll check that out.
Also, guys, check out our website, which is www.theshrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk. Everything you need to know about us is on there. You can get in contact with us as well. That's made for us by our friends at Web Orchard. So make sure you check that out. And Claire, you've been amazing. Phill, thanks very much for chipping in and taking some photos and stuff.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy to help out.
Yeah, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Nice one.
Peace out.